the smell of fresh wheat which was being dried on the ceilings, with the fresh dough, the making of rice pudding. Every time I smell that in my kitchen, it transports me back straight to being a small, extremely introvert child who was just observing life from his grandmother's eyes. I see it very poetically now because I feel that God gave me such an opportunity to be cooking for so many people every day in the world's largest city. Hi, I'm Chef Vikas Khanna from Amritsar, India, living in New York for almost 3 decades, and I'm at the restaurant Bungalow in East Village, New York. For me, 4 big important words for running a restaurant is inspiration, atmosphere, ingredients, and technique. My hometown, Amritsar, which actually means a sacred pond of water. That's where we have the community kitchen, where I fell in love with cooking for the first time in that massive community kitchen, which feeds more than 100,000 people every day for free. I think that really shaped my vision as a small child, that this is a career I want to follow. I don't know how far I would go, because in 1980s, a middle-class family kid choosing cooking was almost a form of humiliation or shame. My father got so mad at me, he's saying, and what are you going to do, cook for American presidents? And my father just said it out of like little frustration. And my grandmother said, tathastu. In Sanskrit, that's a very important word, which means, may this happen with the grace of God. And that word tathastu has been the core of my entire career. And every time I have to get an offer to cook at the White House or to cook for a president or host them, I think about that this is happening because she said that with absolute pure intent. So this is the first picture of the restaurant. When you walk into the dining room, the restaurant starts with this. Behind our picture is a huge poster of me with President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. I think this was in some college in India where they were honoring me, and I took my parents with me. And this is the first time my father said, this is the first time he's going to college with me and he's not feeling ashamed. The most handsome man I ever saw in my life. And that's my mom, the strongest woman I know. My dreams were over-ambitious at that time, where not even Indian cuisine or chef would be mentioned in any of the lists. But you need people to have faith in you, who love you not because of what you do, of who you are. And I feel she was that person for me. That's my grandma. This is the last picture we have together. It's one of my most treasured pictures. My mom says that she's never seen me laugh ever again the way I used to laugh with my sister. She was funny, she was hilarious, she was absolutely sarcastic and nasty and amazing. My sister's name was Radhika Khanna. I used to call her Radha. She would always tell me that the world sees ethnic cuisines from such a small lens. You need to find a way to expand this, to feel that beauty is infinite and the greatness of taste can't be defined by a single palate. So this time, we will not open a restaurant, we will un-restaurant ourselves and we'll open a home. Many times when you'll come to Bungalow, you'll see this beautiful flower bracelet. I'll be wearing it. I wear a lot of them so that I can keep distributing them to people. And for many Indians, this smells like mom's or grandmom's hair or their little flowers in their temples. It's extremely, extremely nostalgic. I've seen people break down into tears, elderly people, that this reminds them of a moment of their life which they'd forgotten. So it's a small token of appreciation, at the same token of a moment of visiting a temple or their grandmother's home. Every single day I live by those words that I have to make people feel that they've come home. And I hope to deliver that every day. every single day we use around 25 pounds of flowers, fresh flowers every day to set up the restaurant. And many of the flowers get outsourced from India. So this is something which we take it very seriously, how our restaurant smells. Most of our ancestors' home, which they have this incense burning in some corner of the house. These are the incense boxes, and they are made from recycled flowers. I performed my sister's last ceremony at the banks of Ganges, and the last ritual was extremely difficult for me, and I did not know that I'll come back out of this grief and pain. The priest who was doing the last ceremony on the banks, he's saying that now your sister is a part of the river, and I filled up a small bottle of that water from the river and I brought it. So every single day at 4:30 we add 8 drops of Ganga Jal outside in our beautiful water bodies we have outside the restaurant. It's in sense of that my sister merging into a river. I think it was very poetic, at the same time for me to understand that I've got to move on. I learned it to move on in some ways. I still remember when I went to my college for admission, and everybody laughed at me at my idea that I run a small banquet at the back of my house. And then I went to a temple close by. It's called Krishna Temple in Udupi. And they were serving this lunch which had a spicy pineapple curry. And that my entire life changed. I became a rebel. I became a true patriot of Indian cuisine. I had never felt the contrast of sweet, spicy, sour, everything coming together to create that essence of what Indian cuisine stands for. And after like 36 years, I got that dish to Bungalow menu and took it to the world. Ingredients are my biggest obsession. All day you'll see me fighting for better ingredients because they have no substitute. When I went to CookUnity kitchen for the first time, I was taken to the storage. I just wanted to see the storage because I've been cooking for almost 42 years, and I've come to terms with the fact that you cannot make good food with bad produce. But I went to CookUnity kitchen and I saw top of the line spices. For me to see an Indian cuisine, our pantries, our sections, to be so well stocked, so well thought of, to see one of the purest ghees being placed there in shelves in volume, I was like, wow. That is what I was like, I'm going to do this. Bring amazing food to people's home because I have a good foundation and a team I can trust. I feel that any cuisine which is finding its roots in a Western world or a different world where it's far away from the motherland, there's always going to be one dish which becomes the holding point. It's the anchor. For me, that anchor for Indian cuisine is butter chicken or chicken tikka masala or chicken makhani. Call it by any name. It's a roasted chicken which has been marinated and soaked in flavors, and it's little charred, and then it's simmered in a tomato cream based sauce. And the best butter chicken for me on planet Earth has to come from India, from Amritsar, where I'm from. So what we tried to do is that we broke down that recipe and we created our own version of that dish, and that is what we are serving at CookUnity in our butter chicken meals. Best quality chicken, best quality spices, the way we marinate it patiently, and we call it roasted butter chicken because the way we roast our chicken is where all the flavor lies. It chars on the outside so the juices remain sealed inside, and then we let it rest for some time before we add it to our sauce, which is tomatoes and cream and fenugreek and garam masala. So all coming together and to give it this dense, creative, yet warm and very comforting meal. For any chef who's in the kitchen and restaurant every single night, there's one word that there is a burnout on this. When you see a diner who's just had your food and their eyes light up and somehow they've been transported back home when they were kids and life was so much better, and that those eyes are my way to charge my batteries. One important thing which I felt is that Bungalow is extremely limited. We do only 300 dinners a night. But CookUnity was our way to reach out to much bigger audience. And that is why we work on this. We put so much of effort to make sure that people who are tasting Indian food for the first time or discovering us on CookUnity, this becomes an integral part of their life.